ha 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 ha. Happy game day, Seattle hockey fans. Game 7, the winner advances. And of course, we want the winner to be the Seattle Kraken. Let's talk about game 6, get you ready for game 7, and then check up on the Coachella Firebirds, all coming up on this episode of Locked on Kraken.
From the depths of the standings in year 1 to the base of that playoff mountain in year 2, the Seattle Kraken have clinched their very first spot in the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
You are Locked on Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked on Kraken. I'm your host, Erica L. Ayala. I'm also the founder of Black Rosie Media. We are a platform and community empowering Black women and melanated creators in sports media. Thank you for making Locked on Kraken a part of your daily routine. And to the everydayers, you know it's a game day. So we're going to give you stats and facts that you need to know ahead of the game, recap game 6, and get ready for Coachella Valley Firebirds. This episode of Locked on Kraken This episode of Locked on Kraken is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked on NHL for $20 off your first purchase. A reminder that Locked on Kraken is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which you can find on YouTube. Thanks for the YouTube subscribers. We're at 700 and counting. Let's go. Getting to 1,000 helps us monetize this page, but also to our audio listeners, the OGs who've been there since day one. Thank you so much for listening on your favorite podcast platform of choice, including, of course, YouTube or the Sirius SXM app. All you have to do to find us on Sirius SXM is search for Kraken, and that will take you to the Locked on Kraken show. Without further ado, let's get into this episode. Big win at home, Seattle hockey fans. Oh, man, I tell you what, I was nervous. I had Biscuit sitting on their top perch right now. We'll get Biscuit ready for later tonight, but I was clenching Biscuit. Those who watched our live reaction and watch party, you know I was a nervous wreck, but the Seattle Kraken came up big for us. That's right, they sure did. The Seattle Kraken did something that they hadn't really done much in this particular series. Now, it was definitely a trend in the playoffs, but the Seattle Kraken struck first. It was Yanni Gourde at the 8:59 mark in the first period to get the Seattle Kraken on the board first. It was a big goal. Yanni's celebration alone told me that the Seattle Kraken were here to handle business. Mason Marchment got one back. There were a bunch of response goals from Dallas. That's something that we're going to talk about as we get ready for game 7. So just put a little pin in that. But Jordan Eberle gets a power play goal. That's right. A power play goal for Jordan Eberle. He would score once again in this matchup Also had an assist on Matty Beniers' goal. Matty Beniers scored one of the goals for us in the third period, along with Eberle. That top line, every single player on that top line scored. 4 of the 6 goals were impacted by the top line. Ty Cartier also got a goal in this game. Solid win for the Seattle Kraken. We heard from Haxtell, obviously, not just after the game, but yesterday was a travel day. The off day off the ice. Seattle Kraken did not practice. That's a trend. We kind of knew that. But we did hear from Dave Haxtell yesterday. We heard from him post game. Matty Beniers and Ellie Tolvanen actually spoke to media. So those are up on the YouTube page if you want to check those out. Someone asked me about audio. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Would you want to hear some of the media availability as bonus episodes on the audio platforms? Let me know in the comments. That's the question of the day. What do you want as bonus bonus content, for audio only? But I will summarize what we heard. Matty Beniers talking yesterday, first of all, asked about the nerves, asked about the team building, asked about a lot of things. It was almost a 4-minute interview. Highly recommend it. But one of my favorite quotes from Matty Beniers talking about, it's just hockey. We'll be fine. Talking about the gonna be in hostile territory, playing Dallas at home, gonna be on the road, and essentially his summary of tonight's game, it's just hockey, we'll be fine. That's been the mentality of this team, just taking it one game at a time, not getting too wrapped up, and it's something. So in case you missed it, I was able to represent the Locked On Kraken show on Locked On NHL today. So now that we're your first listen, you can make that your second listen of the day, and also Locked On Sports Today, which covers not hockey, but all of sports. And we're being asked a lot as a show, hey, how what's the feeling like? What is, and of course it's exciting. As a fan base, I think we can lean into the excitement more. But I think honestly, even as a fan base, it's like, hey, we're enjoying the ride, but we're in the here and now. We want to win the cup just as much as anyone else. And so, yeah, I honestly don't feel like we're downplaying our excitement. I think the focus is just on how far we can get the train moving. And the Seattle Kraken right now are in position to win a game 7. And of course, in our playoff history, we are undefeated in game 7s. I like this little nugget. Shout out to Lindsey Brown and the rest of the PR team at the Seattle Kraken. But I'm going to list off all of the players who are undefeated. Yes, that's right. Who are undefeated when it comes to game 7s. And it's a pretty substantial list. So we have from the Seattle Kraken, Jaden Schwartz, Martin Jones, Jonas Donskoy, out with injury, but still, Vince Dunn, Justin Schultz, Jamie Alexiak, Brandon Tanev, Matty Beniers, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Will Borgen, Ryan Donato, Morgan Geeky, Ty Cartier, Carson Soucy, Daniel Sprong, Ellie Tolvanen, and Alex Wenberg. All right. All undefeated in their career game 7s. Now, granted, a decent amount of these only have the one that the Seattle Kraken have. But Jaden Schwartz, 5 game 7s. Martin Jones, 4 game 7s. Jonas Donskoy, again, we don't get to rely on him. 3. Vince Dunn, 3. Schultz, 3. Alexiak, 2. Brandon Tanev, 2. Everyone else is in the 1 game category, which, of course, is with the Seattle Kraken. But Jaden Schwartz, we gave him propos on Friday's episode, and he was massive. But you know who else I talked about even on that Friday episode and who was big in game 6? Yes, that's correct. The one and only Jordan Eberle has been fantastic for this Seattle team. I was so surprised he was not one of the stars of the game. Maybe it was a little too obvious a choice. I'm not really sure, but he was stellar. Jaden Schwartz had a massive block. I believe it was during the 6-on-5 empty net The empty net goal scored by Eberle, but that's because Schwartz had a big block in front. And that's what we heard from Matty Beniers early in the series. I showed you that media availability. I was in that locker room for the first practice starting the playoff run. And what Matty Beniers told us is that the veterans were telling him that the way you show you are about that life, that you are about it, the way you show that you are committed to this team and this playoff run is how you play in front of net, 50-50 pucks, blocking shots. The Seattle Kraken in this game overall, if we go to NHL.com, they had 23 block shots to 15 by the Stars. Both teams were 1 of 3 on the power play. I mentioned that it was Eberle. Of course, yes, I remember. It was Jordan Eberle who got a power play goal. He also had the empty netter. The Seattle Kraken did better on faceoffs, and we'll get into that a little bit coming up on what we need for Game 7. But 52% clip on faceoffs for the Dallas Stars, 48% for the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken were leading in a big way with shots. Ultimately, the shots came down to 29 shots for the Seattle Kraken and 23 shots for the Dallas Stars. So the Stars did pick up momentum, and we'll see that with natural stat trick. You know, I like my game flow. You know, I like my heat maps. And I told you if you were watching live with us, I definitely wanted to see the heat map because there were a few very clear things that were different in Game 6 that we quite honestly had not seen from the Seattle Kraken in some time. So I'm going to take you to the instant analysis by Allison Lucan to help bring this point home. But Allison Lucan talking about a few different things. So the most effective forward combination this game was Yanni Gourde, Ellie Tolvanen, and Oliver Bjorkstrand. 10:55 of ice time. They were a +5 in shot attempts and had 70.1% of all shot quality. Now that's good to know because again, that line with Cartier, Beniers, and Eberle was also effective. So to see that Tolvanen, Tolvi had a goal, Gourde had a goal, Bjorkstrand getting involved, that's huge. Speaking of Tolvanen became the first player in Kraken history to score 3 points in a postseason game. I love that. 1 goal, 2 assists. Ty Cartier scored his 3rd goal of the postseason. He's the 5th skater to make their NHL debut in the playoffs and score 3+ goals before skating in a regular season. Chris Kreider, Eddie Mazur, George McPhee, Ray Cote, that's via Scott Malone. Cartier's goal was also the game winner. It was beautiful. Oh man, if you were watching live with us, there were some goals where I thought I might cry. The passing was beautiful from the Seattle Kraken. That Cartier goal was amazing. Amazing. But here's the thing. Dallas had 3 response goals in this game. That means they scored within 2 minutes or less of Seattle scoring. And that's something that I want to see us clean up. But you know what? Let's go over to natural stat trick. I want you to see the heat map here for this game because you can see the momentum shifting later in that game for Dallas. And Seattle, they did, I forget who mentioned it, but they felt they took their foot off the gas in the second period, and it kind of felt that way. That's exactly where we can see here on this game flow chart. That's exactly where things started to take a turn for Dallas and where they score their second goal. But I want to look at this heat map because in the past, when I've gone to natural stat trick, this home run, the slot area, so the slot is all of this, but the home run area is in the middle of the slot. This has not been open for the Seattle Kraken. Dallas is having their way. Absolutely. You can see over here in the home run area and the overall slot. You can see how this comes all the way out to the logo, whereas we still have, even at the top, just below the point area, that we're not really getting things done there. But the Seattle Kraken, Eberle was just riding right through this slot area, crashing to the net. And it was beautiful to see, quite honestly. He made a lot of great things happen. Not surprised at all that he got a goal. So I just wanted to show you that, because I said I test was telling me that this heat map was going to show that the Seattle Kraken were getting in closer to Jake Ottinger. Speaking of, they chased Jake Ottinger out of the net, and they chased Jake out of nets, and Wedgwood came in, and the Seattle Kraken, it's never good when you pull a goalie. We've seen that in this series. So the fact that the Seattle Kraken were able to chase Ottinger out, that's good. You know what that means, though? That it's going to be a battle in Game 7. Dallas usually comes back ready to punch our teeth out. And so we have to be ready for that. And honestly, it might be the most physical game, literally, punching our teeth out. And of course it is. The winner advances. The loser is done for the season. On this episode of Locked on Kraken, I mentioned we're going to talk about the Coachella Valley Firebirds. We're going to get you ready for Game 7. But throughout the week, tomorrow's episode, I don't know. Is it going to be a post-mortem? Are we going to be celebrating that we've gotten to the Western Conference Finals? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you the rest of the week is going to look like. At minimum, I can tell you that there will be some Coachella Valley games, so we'll talk about that. But coming up next on Locked on Kraken, let's get ready for Game 7. This episode of Locked on Kraken is brought to you by Athletic Greens. You know, I travel a lot, and I tell you all the time that getting a good morning routine for someone who travels so much is really difficult. But that's why I like Athletic Greens. First of all, it's a great morning routine to have. Instead of all of these different supplements or tinctures to pour in my morning tea, all I have to do is get 8 ounces of water and 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, and I'm getting 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to keep my motor running on clean fuel. I love it so much. And what I really like about Athletic Greens is that when you get your first order, you're going to get 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And the travel packs were huge for me. Now I'm done with my 5 free travel packs. So I just portion out, which is also easy because it comes with a scoop. So you're good to go. Just portion out however many days that I'm on the road, and then I can take that with me as part of my daily routine. But the 5 free travel packs, along with the 1-year supply of immunity supporting vitamin D, which is something I can just drop in my tea, massive. And that's how Athletic Greens is making it easy for you to get on board. Trusting the leading health experts, Athletic Greens has everything that you need in just 1 scoop, 8 ounces of water. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. So all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional assistance. Thank you as always for making Locked on Kraken a part of your daily routine. I'm your host, Erica L. Ayala, and we are getting ready for Game 7. Round 2, Game 7. That's right. The Seattle Kraken forced the issue by getting a 6-3 win in Game 6 against the Dallas Stars, and now we head back to the Lone Star State. Seattle Kraken got in yesterday and now are looking to continue this magical streak. And hey, why not us, right? Why the heck not us? And let's get into a little bit of what we need to know ahead of Game 7. Now, I alluded to this earlier, But a key stat that we have going in, well, actually, let me just show you first. Before we do that, let me just show you the raw numbers, the overall numbers that we have coming into this game. These are your basics, your power play, how we've been doing. But I like showing this to you. So the series is tied 3-3. Playoff record overall for Seattle 7-6, 7-5 for Dallas. Remember, they didn't go all the way to game 7 in their first round series. Now we are 4-3 away. So that's a big one. Now, also important to know, now this is the overall playoffs, not just this series, obviously, because 4. But the home record for Dallas, they're 4-2. Now, we've got Rupe Hintz is the leading scorer with 18 points, and Yanni Gourde, our leading scorer, with 12 points overall. The power play has not been great, as we can see, 14.7% power play for the Seattle Kraken. Woof, not great. 32.5% for the Dallas Stars. And that is one thing that I thought the Seattle Kraken, I thought we were a little bit undisciplined with our penalties in game 6, and it didn't bite us as it could have. But we got to be careful with that. All right, back to the numbers. The penalty kill, 82.4% clip for the Seattle Kraken and 82.9% clip for the Dallas Stars. So we're essentially comparable there. Some other stats that I think are important for us to know. The Dallas Stars are 0-4 when conceding the first goal in the entire playoffs. 0-4. The Seattle Kraken are 3-1 when scoring first. So, yeah, we want to score first. Abso-freaking-lutely, we want to score first. Again, that's some great statistical analysis that's coming from the PR team over at the Seattle Kraken. A few other things that I thought were noticeable here. 3-goal games. 3-goal games. The Dallas Stars are 5-3. So let's keep them at 3 or less. The Seattle Kraken, the Dallas Stars are 0-4 when trailing after the first period. And the Seattle Kraken are 3-1. When scoring first, the Seattle Kraken are 6-3, and the Dallas Stars are 7-1. When the opponent scores first, the Seattle Kraken are 1-3, and the Dallas Stars are 0-4. So I just wanted so the 0-4 is the same stat, but the Seattle Kraken stat was a little bit different. So I just wanted to clean that up for you. So scoring first and leading after the first period, very, very, very important. It gets even more important in the second period. The Seattle Kraken are 6-0 when leading after the second period. The Dallas Stars are 7-0 when leading in the seventh period. In the second period, not the seventh. Whew, let's not do that. Not the seventh period. But here's another stat. When trailing after 2, both teams are 0-4. So again, not only do you want to get the lead early, statistically speaking, but you want to keep the lead going into the third period. OT record in the playoffs, 2-0 for the Seattle Kraken. Dallas has not won a game in overtime. They went to overtime with us, but they have not gotten a win. When outshooting the opponents, the Seattle Kraken are 4-1. The Dallas Stars are 4-2. When outshot by the opponent, the Seattle Kraken 3-5, the Dallas Stars 3-3. So it doesn't seem to be affecting Dallas as much. So again, what this tells me is we just got to start early. But what does Bob Condor, the Seattle Kraken editor-in-chief, what does he say the essentials to this game are? Well, let's head over to NHL.com/Kraken. First up for Bob Condor, window of opportunity. As a franchise, since relocating from Minnesota, the Dallas Stars are 2-2 in game 7s. Think about that. 4 total game 7s in 30 years, and Seattle fans are halfway to that number in just 2 playoff rounds. That's kind of wild. I thought that was fun, especially telling you all the players that we have on our roster. Again, half of them includes this season being undefeated in game 7s. So that's interesting. Pushbacks and puck luck. Dallas has not won a game in this spring's playoffs when the opponent scores first. We talked about that. Dave Haxel and his squad won't forget Dallas tying game 6 1-1 in the first period by scoring just 31 seconds after Yanni Gourde opened the scoring. That's been another theme, and it was a massive theme coming off of the rush, just momentum shifts. Dallas does not care if we score because they have confidence that they can score immediately after we score. They've had success doing that. So we've got to clean up defensively. And that was a massive problem last year. I don't want to see that anymore. And then 3, looking for heroes. And then, of course, we mentioned Oliver Bjorkstrand scored 2 big goals against Colorado in the do-or-die game and rung a post to miss out on the possible hat trick. Oh, we saw some posts in game 6. So looking for heroes. I love Bob Condor for this article in particular. Bob's an amazing guy, but I love him for this article because in addition to saying who might come up with heroics in game 7, in addition to saying Oliver Bjorkstrand, everydayers, I think you know where I'm going with this. In addition to saying Oliver Bjorkstrand, who else did he choose? Ryan Donato. Ryan Donato. Quote, another choice, Ryan Donato, not among the 18 Kraken players to score a goal this postseason, is consistently generating chances for his teammates and himself, plus maintaining a usual net front presence. You're damn right. I knew that if this series was going to rely on a net front presence, eventually we're going to need to see Ryan Donato. I agree with what Bob Condor is saying here. Yes, Ryan Donato has been setting up chances net front for his teammates. And what did we talk about on our live watch party on Saturday? Ryan Donato is due. I said in the live watch party, I'm trying not to be biased. And, you know, I was like, are people pandering to me because everyone knows I'm properly on the Ryan Donato train? But no. I mean, well, yes, I am properly on the Ryan Donato train, and I do not apologize for that. And I'm very open about that. And people who maybe are not as, front row seat, early bird ticket purchase for the Ryan Donato experience, even other people are mentioning it as well. So let's look out for number 9, Ryan Donato. I would love to see Ryan Donato score in a Seattle Kraken win in game 7. Also mentions Jaden Schwartz, of course. I've been telling you this man we dedicated essentially a whole episode to him. And Jamie Oleksiak, who is stellar in the Kraken zone, racking up hits and always prepared to jump in at scoring chances. So, who's going to play heroics? Your first question of the day is, audio listeners, how do you want me to handle some of the bonus material? Second question of the day of the episode is, who's coming up big in game 7 for the Seattle Kraken? Let me know in the comments. Drop them on YouTube or wherever you are listening, or you can also ping us at Locked On Kraken, particularly on Twitter, also on Instagram as well. Coming up next on Locked On Kraken. I know it's a game day, and I hope you are hype. I will hype you up as we close out the show. But first, let's talk also about AHL hockey and a few players that are going to be looking to crack the Seattle Kraken roster come next season, already getting some playoff experience in the AHL. We'll talk about that coming up on this episode of Locked On Kraken. This episode of Locked On Kraken is brought to you by Game Time. Now, I travel a lot. Those of you who watch the show, you know I travel a lot. And I like to go to shows. I like to go to games, even when I'm not working, usually baseball. That's my leisurely sport. But sometimes finding tickets can be difficult. You don't know what your schedule is going to look like, which means then you got to buy everything last minute. So sometimes you miss out on early bird. I said I'm an early birder for Ryan Donato, but sometimes you miss out on the early bird specials. But now with Game Time, you can buy tickets to your favorite events without the stress. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Flash deals and last minute tickets. Easy to find, easy to buy tickets, images of your seat view, and the low price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. Another really cool thing is Game Time, again, has that price guarantee. And the guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and the same row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's right, 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and when you use promo code LOCKEDONNHL, you will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just go ahead and create that account to redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Seattle hockey fans, I truly wish I could guarantee you a win in Game 7, a la Natasha Cloud. That's a WNBA Washington Mystics reference, just in case you didn't pick it up. I can't guarantee that. You know, I like to put some respect. I like to recognize game. And Dallas is a good team. Dallas is a scrappy team. And Dallas is playing with desperation. But that's how Seattle played in Game 6. And Yanni Gourde talked about how much of the win in Game 6 was the game plan, getting on the forward track, being better on rushes, playing through the slot, all of those things. And Yanni Gourde said you need a little bit of both, that being game plan and desperation. We saw what Seattle could do with our backs up against the wall in Game 6 at home. Much better Game 6 than in round 1, I'll tell you that. Now it's about stringing together wins. That's going to be critical for the Seattle Kraken as we move forward. Can we do it? Absolutely. Can I guarantee it? I absolutely will not. That's why we watch. And we will be having another watch party. That's right. You can watch along with me and our Kraken crew that we have established as a part of our community. We'll be watching on playback and on YouTube. Make sure you check the show notes for the links. Let's get some rest. Make sure you do your deep breathing exercises. If you forget throughout the day, don't worry. On the live watch party, we do breathing exercises to keep everyone calm, cool, and collected. But what we need from you is to hold fast and stay true. But before we get ready for tonight, just a reminder that also the Coachella Valley Firebirds are playing tonight. They are tied 1 game apiece with the Calgary Wranglers and have a game tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Your leading goal scorers in all of the AHL. Let's see, 4 of the 5 top goal scorers in the Calder Cup playoffs are from the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Coming in first with 15 points, Cole Lind. Then you've got Max McCormick, who's had some time with the Seattle Kraken as well. For those on YouTube, I'll pull this up for you. If you're not on YouTube, don't worry, or you can't check out your screen, don't worry, I got you. So again, 15 points for Cole Lind, Max McCormick at 13 points, Tanner Fritz from the Wolfpack with 10, Riker Evans and Cameron Hughes also with 10 points. 4 of the top 5 goal scorers in the Calder Cup playoffs are from our Coachella Valley Firebirds. The future is absolutely bright. They're crushing it. But, also, you see that Joey Decord has been doing great here. 2.11 goals against average. He has 1 shutout in the Calder Cup playoffs. His save percentage is at a 934. So he's rocking with that save percentage. Not the highest, but he's top 3. Joey Decord with a 934 save percentage. So our boys are doing well throughout the pipeline. You absolutely love to see that. Now, that does mean, and we talked about it's on the live watch party, that does mean that it's going to get a little dicey when it comes to free agency, but we're not worried about that right now. And depending on how game 7 goes, we might not have to worry about that for a while. All we have to do is hold fast, stay true, and root loud and proud. Let's go Kraken! Game 7 is all we're focused on. So you're rooting for the Seattle Kraken tonight. You're rooting for the Coachella Valley Firebirds tonight. And let's ride, let's glide, let's win, fam. Get in your nap. Get in your snacks, join us for the live watch party, and I will see you, if not later tonight, on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Kraken. Peace!